When we talk about the first 180 days of 2026, everything begins with vision. Not a vague hope, not a wish whispered under our breath, but a clear and compelling picture of where we are going and why it matters. Vision gives meaning to effort. Without it, activity becomes noise and busyness becomes confusion. With it, even the hardest work finds purpose. Before strategies are written, before calendars are filled, before resources are allocated, we must pause and ask ourselves a simple but powerful question: what must be different at the end of these 180 days? A clear vision anchors us. It answers the why before we ever wrestle with the how. In a world that moves fast and pulls us in countless directions, vision becomes the steady compass that keeps us from drifting. It reminds us that these 180 days are not just a stretch of time, but an opportunity to correct course, to rise higher, and to act with intention rather than reaction. When vision is clear, decisions become simpler, priorities sharper, and distractions easier to resist. This vision must be specific. General intentions sound good, but they do not carry us far. We must know what success looks like in real terms. What habits must be established? What results must be achieved? What changes must be visible in our work, our leadership, and our lives? A vision that cannot be described cannot be pursued. When we define it clearly, we give ourselves something to wake up for each morning and something to measure ourselves against each night. Yet vision is not only about outcomes, it is also about values. The first 180 days of 2026 must reflect who we are and what we stand for. Success without integrity is failure in disguise. Progress without purpose leaves us empty. As we shape our vision, we must ensure it is rooted in principles that endure: discipline, service, responsibility, and faith in what is right. These values become the guardrails that keep our plans strong even when pressure rises and obstacles appear. A powerful vision also unites people. When people see the same destination, they move together. Confusion fades, alignment grows, and energy multiplies. Whether this plan applies to an organization, a team, or a personal journey, clarity of vision invites commitment. People do not give their best to confusion. They give their best to conviction. When the vision is spoken clearly and lived consistently, it creates trust and inspires action. It is important to understand that vision does not deny reality. It does not ignore challenges or pretend the road will be easy. Instead, it acknowledges difficulty while refusing to surrender to it. A strong vision says, "This is where we are, but this is not where we will remain." It lifts our eyes above immediate limitations and reminds us that progress is possible, one disciplined step at a time. As we step into 2026, the first 180 days should not be treated as ordinary days. They are foundational days. What we tolerate, establish, and prioritize during this period will echo far beyond it. Vision ensures that these days are not wasted on reaction, but invested in direction. It keeps us from chasing every opportunity and instead empowers us to pursue the right ones. And let us remember, vision demands commitment. Once it is set, it must be protected. There will be moments of doubt, moments of fatigue, moments when quitting seems easier than continuing. Vision speaks to us in those moments. It reminds us why we started. It calls us back to purpose when emotions waver. It steadies us when circumstances shift. If the vision for these 180 days is strong, the plan will follow. Strategy, teamwork, execution, and momentum all flow naturally from a clear sense of direction. But without vision, even the best plans collapse under pressure. So we begin here at the foundation, with clarity, conviction, and courage. Because when the vision is clear, the path forward becomes possible, and the next 180 days can truly change everything. Once the vision is set and the destination is clear, The next step is to bring that vision down to earth through intentional planning. Vision gives us direction, but planning gives us movement. Without structure, even the strongest vision remains an idea. The next 180 days of 2026 must be shaped not by wishful thinking, but by thoughtful, time-bound milestones that turn purpose into progress. A successful plan respects time. Time is not our enemy, but it is not unlimited. When we divide 180 days into clear phases, we stop being overwhelmed by the size of the goal and start being energized by achievable steps. Progress becomes visible. Momentum becomes measurable. Instead of asking, how will we ever get there? We begin asking, what must be done this week, this month, this season? Planning transforms distant goals into daily faithfulness. Milestones are not meant to restrict us, they are meant to guide us. They act as markers along the journey, reminding us that movement matters more than perfection. When milestones are clear, we can pause, evaluate, and adjust without losing direction. We learn quickly what is working and what is not, and we respond with wisdom rather than frustration. This kind of planning keeps us flexible without allowing us to drift. Strategic planning also demands honesty. It forces us to confront our capacity, our limitations, and our responsibilities. It asks us to count the cost before we build, to prepare before we proceed. In these 180 days, we must plan realistically, not emotionally. Overcommitting leads to exhaustion. Underplanning leads to stagnation. Balance is found when ambition walks hand in hand with discipline. A time-bound plan also creates urgency. When deadlines are clear, excuses lose their power. We move with purpose because we know that delay has consequences. Each milestone becomes a call to action, reminding us that progress is not accidental, it is intentional. The days begin to work for us instead of slipping quietly past us. Planning does not eliminate obstacles, but it prepares us for them. Challenges are not surprises, they are part of the journey. A well-structured plan anticipates resistance and allows room for adjustment. When setbacks come, we are not shaken because we expected them. We rise, we learn, and we continue forward. This is not stubbornness. This is perseverance guided by wisdom. There is also strength in review. Planning is not something we do once and forget. It is something we return to regularly. As we review our milestones, we measure progress, celebrate growth, and correct course when necessary. This habit of reflection keeps us grounded and focused. It prevents us from confusing activity with achievement. Strategic planning also protects what matters most. It helps us guard our energy, our resources, and our focus. When priorities are written and timelines are clear, distractions become easier to recognize and easier to resist. We stop reacting to every urgent noise and start responding to what truly matters. Planning becomes an act of stewardship, honoring the responsibility we carry. And let us be clear, planning is not about control, it is about commitment. It is the daily choice to show up, to do the work, and to trust the process. It is faith expressed through action. Each milestone completed builds confidence for the next, reminding us that progress is possible and momentum is real. As the days unfold, this plan becomes more than a schedule. It becomes a testimony of discipline. It proves that success is not sudden, but built step by step. It teaches us patience without allowing complacency. It trains us to value consistency over intensity. When the vision sets our direction and strategic planning shapes our steps, the first 180 days of 2026 become a season of deliberate growth rather than scattered effort. We move forward with clarity, purpose, and resolve. Because when purpose is paired with disciplined planning, every day counts and every step brings us closer to the promise ahead. No vision is fulfilled and no plan is completed by one person alone. Progress, especially in the first 180 days of 2026, rises or falls on people. It is built on the strength of the team and the clarity of accountability. Even the greatest ideas remain unfinished when responsibility is vague and ownership is absent. If we want lasting success, we must be intentional about who stands with us and how we walk together. Building the right team begins with recognizing that leadership is not about control, but about trust. It is about placing the right people in the right roles and giving them the confidence to act. Everyone does not need to do everything, but everyone must know what they are responsible for. When roles are unclear, effort is duplicated and energy is wasted. When roles are clear, focus sharpens and excellence rises. A strong team is not built merely on talent, but on character. Skills can be taught, but integrity must be chosen. In these 180 days, we must surround ourselves with people who are dependable, teachable, and committed to the mission. People who show up when it is hard, not just when it is convenient. People who understand that success is shared and responsibility is mutual. Accountability is not punishment, it is protection. It protects the vision from drift and the plan from delay. When accountability is healthy, it creates clarity rather than fear. Expectations are spoken, progress is reviewed, and results are measured. This kind of accountability does not crush people, it strengthens them. It reminds everyone that their contribution matters and their effort has weight. True accountability also begins with leadership. Before we ever ask others to be responsible, we must model responsibility ourselves. When leaders keep their word, meet their deadlines, and admit their mistakes, trust is built. When leaders avoid responsibility, excuses multiply. The tone at the top always becomes the culture throughout. Accountability, when led with humility, becomes contagious. Teams thrive when communication is honest and consistent. Silence creates confusion, and confusion weakens momentum. In the first 180 days, there must be space for conversation, feedback, and course correction. People need to know not only what is expected, but how they are doing. Encouragement fuels morale, and clarity fuels performance. When people feel seen and supported, they give more than what is required. There is also power in alignment. A team moves fastest when everyone understands the same priorities and pursues the same goals. Competing agendas divide strength. Clear accountability brings unity, ensuring that energy is not scattered but concentrated. When people are aligned, progress accelerates and resistance loses its grip. Building the right team also requires courage. Sometimes it means making difficult decisions. Not everyone who begins the journey is meant to finish it. This is not a failure, it is a responsibility. Leadership demands wisdom to know when to coach, when to reposition, and when to release. Protecting the mission sometimes requires hard choices, but it always serves the greater good. As accountability takes root, confidence grows. People begin to take ownership not because they are forced to, but because they are trusted to. Responsibility becomes a privilege, not a burden. This is when a team shifts from participation to commitment, from involvement to investment. In these 180 days, we are not just building outcomes, we are building people. The habits we establish, the standards we set, and the accountability we maintain will shape the culture long after this season ends. Strong tech. AMs create sustainable success. Clear accountability ensures that success endures. When the right people are empowered and responsibility is honored, the plan moves forward with strength, unity, and purpose. Because when people stand together with clarity and commitment, the work ahead becomes not only possible but unstoppable. As the vision is clear, the plan is structured, and the team is aligned, the next great responsibility before us in these 180 days of 2026 is stewardship, how we use what has been placed in our hands. Success is not determined by how much we have, but by how wisely we use it. Time, resources, opportunities, and decisions are gifts, and every gift carries responsibility. When these are handled with wisdom, progress multiplies. When they are mishandled, even the best plans begin to weaken. Resource optimization begins with awareness. We must know what we have before we decide how to use it. Too often people rush forward without counting the cost, spreading themselves thin, exhausting their energy, and wondering why momentum fades. Wisdom pauses, evaluates, and chooses carefully. In these 180 days, we must learn to invest rather than merely spend. Invest our time where it matters most, invest our energy where it produces growth, and invest our resources where they bring lasting return. Time is one of our most valuable resources, and once it passes, it cannot be reclaimed. Every hour carries potential, but not every activity deserves our attention. Smay. RT decision-making teaches us to distinguish between what is urgent and what is important. Busyness may make us feel productive, but focus is what makes us effective. When priorities are clear, time becomes an ally instead of a thief. Financial and material resources also demand discipline. Waste weakens progress, but wise allocation strengthens it. We must learn to do more with intention rather than more with excess. When resources are aligned with purpose, even limited means can produce remarkable results. Careless decisions may bring short-term comfort, but disciplined choices build long-term stability. Smart decision-making is rooted in wisdom, not impulse. In these 180 days, we will face moments where quick answers seem tempting. But lasting success is rarely born from haste. Wisdom listens, evaluates, and seeks understanding. It considers consequences before making commitments. It asks not only, can we do this, but also, should we do this? This kind of discernment protects us from costly detours. Data, feedback, and experience are tools that help guide our decisions. We do not ignore facts, nor do we dismiss counsel. Pride isolates, but humility invites insight. When we are willing to learn, adjust, and refine our approach, our decisions grow stronger. Smart leaders are not those who know everything, but those who are willing to learn continually. There is also courage in saying no. Not every opportunity is an assignment. Not every good idea fits the vision. Stewardship requires restraint. Saying no to distractions is often what allows us to say yes to purpose. In these 180 days, discipline will not limit us, it will free us. It will keep us focused on what truly advances the mission. Resource optimization also involves caring for people. Burnout is not a badge of honor. Exhausted people cannot sustain excellence. Wise leadership values rest, balance, and renewal. When people are cared for, productivity increases naturally. When people are neglected, progress eventually collapses. Strength is preserved when wisdom governs pace. As we make decisions, we must remember that every choice sets a direction. Small decisions, repeated daily shape outcomes more than dramatic moments ever will. The way we manage time, respond to pressure, and allocate resources during these 180 days will determine the strength of what follows. Stewardship today creates stability tomorrow. Let us choose wisely, not fearfully. Let us act boldly, but not recklessly. Let us be intentional with what we have been entrusted, knowing that faithfulness in small things prepares us for greater responsibility. When wisdom guides our decisions, resources are multiplied, momentum is protected, and progress is sustained. Because when we honor what is in our hands, we create room for what is yet to come. As the days move forward and the work unfolds, one truth becomes clear. Progress must be watched, measured, and guided. A plan without review slowly loses its power. In these 180 days of 2026, success will not belong to those who simply start strong, but to those who stay attentive, responsive, and willing to adjust. Monitoring progress is not a sign of doubt, it is a mark of wisdom. When we pause to evaluate where we are, we gain clarity about where we are going. Regular reflection keeps us aligned with the vision and grounded in reality. It helps us see what is working and what is quietly holding us back. Without this awareness, small problems grow into large obstacles. With it, correction becomes timely, and growth becomes continuous. Progress must be measured honestly. Numbers, outcomes, behaviors, and results tell a story, and we must be willing to listen. Avoiding truth delays improvement. Facing it opens the door to transformation. When we measure progress, we are not looking for perfection, we are looking for direction. Are we moving forward, standing still, or drifting off course? That answer determines our next step. Adaptability is the companion of accountability. The ability to adjust does not weaken the plan, it strengthens it. Conditions change, challenges emerge, and unexpected opportunities appear. A rigid plan breaks under pressure, but a responsive plan grows stronger. Wisdom knows when to stay the course and when to shift strategy without abandoning purpose. Feedback plays a critical role in this process. When voices are heard and insights are welcomed, blind spots are revealed. Growth often comes from perspectives. E did not consider. This requires humility. Pride resists correction, but humility embraces it. In these 180 days, we must create space for honest feedback and the courage to act on it. Monitoring progress also builds confidence. Each review reminds us how far we have come. Small victories matter. They fuel motivation and strengthen resolve. Celebrating progress does not create complacency, it renews energy. When people see results, belief grows, and belief drives perseverance. There will be moments when results are slower than expected. These moments test our patience and our commitment. Monitoring helps us respond wisely instead of emotionally. Instead of giving up or pushing blindly, we learn, refine, and continue. Progress is rarely a straight line, but direction matters more than speed. Adaptation does not mean abandoning values. It means applying them wisely in changing circumstances. The vision remains steady even as the methods evolve. This balance keeps us faithful to purpose while effective in practice. It allows us to move forward without losing our way. Consistency in review creates discipline. When progress is reviewed regularly, excellence becomes a habit rather than an exception. Accountability remains active. Focus stays sharp and momentum is protected. This rhythm of review and adjustment becomes a powerful force for long-term success. As these 180 days unfold, we must resist the temptation to coast or to panic. Monitoring progress keeps us grounded. Wean those extremes. It reminds us that growth is a process and that faithfulness over time produces results. Each adjustment made with wisdom strengthens the foundation we are building. Let us remain watchful, teachable, and responsive. Let us measure with honesty and adjust with courage. When we stay engaged with the process, progress remains alive and purpose remains clear. Because when we pay attention to the journey, we arrive stronger, wiser, and ready for what lies ahead. As we approach the end of these 180 days, it becomes clear that this season was never meant to stand alone. It was designed to ignite something lasting. True success is not measured by how strong we finish a plan, but by how well we carry its momentum forward. The discipline we have built, the habits we have formed, and the lessons we have learned must now become the foundation for what comes next. Momentum is fragile if it is not protected. It can be gained quickly, but it can also be lost quietly. That is why sustaining progress requires intention. We cannot afford to relax our standards simply because initial goals have been reached. What we celebrate must also be reinforced. Victory should inspire gratitude, but they should also deepen commitment. Success is not a signal to stop, it is a signal to steward what has been gained. The habits established during these 180 days are more powerful than the results themselves. Results may fade, but habits endure. Discipline in planning, accountability. Decision-making and review must continue beyond this season. When good habits are maintained, progress becomes predictable. When they are abandoned, even great achievements begin to erode. Sustaining momentum also requires vision that extends beyond the immediate horizon. we must look ahead and ask what must be protected and what must be built next. Forward thinking keeps us from drifting backward. It ensures that the energy created does not dissipate, but is redirected toward new goals and greater impact. Celebration has its place in this journey. Recognizing progress strengthens morale and affirms effort. Gratitude honors the work done and the people who made it possible. But celebration must never replace responsibility. It should refuel us, not distract us. When celebration and discipline walk together, momentum remains strong. There is also a need for continued growth. Success can be a dangerous place if it leads to comfort. Comfort resists change, but growth demands it. The mindset that carried us through the first 180 days must remain alive. We must stay curious, teachable, and willing to improve. Growth is not a destination, it is a posture. Leadership plays a critical role in sustaining momentum. Leaders must continue to model commitment, humility, and consistency. What leaders tolerate becomes the standard. When leaders remain faithful, others are encouraged to do the same. Momentum is preserved when leadership remains engaged and grounded. As we move beyond these 180 days, challenges will not disappear. New pressures will arise, and old ones may return. The difference is that we now carry experience, discipline, and clarity. We are not starting over, we are building forward. The strength gained in this season becomes our advantage in the next. Long-term success is built when momentum is turned into culture. When excellence becomes normal, accountability remains active, and purpose stays central, progress continues naturally. Culture is what remains when motivation fades. If we have built well in these 180 days, what follows will be stronger and more sustainable. Let us not lose sight of how far we have come, nor forget why we began. Let us protect the momentum, strengthen the habits, and keep our eyes forward. The work ahead may be greater, but so is our capacity. Because when momentum is sustained with purpose and discipline, what began in 180 days becomes a legacy that endures.